Bangalore. Hope you guys can able to hear me. Thanks, everyone. Today, I have seen from morning onwards, there was very heavily packed technical conversations. The next session would be for you guys to get little light, but also see where you can apply these Gen AI, agentic AI, and latest AI, ML advanced analytics solutions that you are hearing throughout the day and next 2 days. See, how many of you here already know supply chain? Okay. How many of you in the data side of the supply chain? Okay, super guys. Good to see. So we have a patient of, after ordering any food or anything, in Amazon or something, checking out whether it's been cooked, it's been delivered, where this guy is in security desk. Or, we have the mentality of tracking the orders, right? So this was the status of all the order. Last location was US Canal for about a week long, even more than a week. It happened post-COVID, 2021, around February 23rd, because of Suez Canal, hit by a heavy traffic. I know people in Bangalore, you already familiarized with the traffic, right? So this is the very worst traffic ever seen by the world, because the entire traffic of supply chain industry of the world has been hung for more than a week time. Because, Evergreen, Ever-Given ship, it was like 400 meter long and 50 meter, height ship was stuck, and it hung the entire Suez Canal transports. Because if for a ship to reach east to west, it will take 10 more days to reach the destinations if Suez Canal was not the option. So everybody prefer that. If you see this slide, it was the second day. It was around like 200 plus ships, vessels were already hung up. So it was more than 400 vessels, and then, I was there in the field because we've been called out for a warehouse room to understand what is the supply chain impact. What is my impact? What is the source, raw materials or medical devices or medicines have been hung up in various parts of the world, because we already committed for the delivery and there is a demand, right? When we couldn't able to fulfill the demand, how it worked, right? The best example would be in our afternoon, we all demand for food. If there is no supply of food, then you all know what's going to happen, right? So that's how the entire industry is working. So, it took actually a week time to put back the couple into the ship into the normal spot and then take it forward. So I'm here to talk about how the entire complexity involved in the supply chain can be solved if you have a right strategies of data. How it can help you guys to envision a reliable supply chain systems. So myself, Ganesh Kalyapan, been in the industry for past 18 years, solving various business problems by providing the data services. But 5 years back, I got this beautiful opportunity to expose myself into supply chain. So let me tell you guys, how you guys can able to solve this problem. Supply chain is nothing but taking the supplier raw materials, putting it in the shape of products that you can able to like, ensure the quality, and ship it to you. Make the demand of the customer becomes happy. So our aim is not only make the customer happy, but the entire supply chain has to become happy, so that we all feel happy, right? You all realize that whenever there is a demand for an onion, let's say onion price goes very heavy. You eventually see that omelette prices will get eventually increased, but over a period of time, onion price will come down. But have you ever seen that omelette price have been reduced by so-and-so because onion has reduced? Because if we disturb the entire supply chain, we are going to pay for it. This is a simple supply chain system. This is another version of the complex supply chain, how it involves, because it's not only one raw material received from one vendor. It has a multiple handshakes happening. And then it has various countries involved. We need to bring the raw material right, because the picture is complex because the supply chain itself is a complex, because there is a multiple parties, multiple systems has to handshake and talk each other. So that's how the entire supply chain has a very complex of it in the nature. Every industry outside there, right, who provide not only the services, but any product has a supply chain network in their company. So you can name any companies, they have a very focused supply chain organizations within them to fulfill the supply, to meet the demand with the supply. So the data in the supply chain is key, because data is one of the core challenges in the supply chain management. Every day, millions of data, IoT, transaction, handshakes. So everything is happening across the globe in playing with the data of the products. Is it raw material safe? Is it a finished good safe? Is it in transport? Is it in a FedEx courier? Is it handshaked? Do we get a bill back? So it has a very vast variety of data in the entire supply chain, because every financial results of any company has an impact of supply chain. What is my revenue? What is my sales order? What is my inventory level? Did I make profit? Did I overbid my competitor or the market expectation? So it's all because of the supply chain, So it helps us more accurate planning, better risk management, more visibility, and ability to make an informed decision. Okay, so supply chain has various system of records inside. There is a transportation management, there is a supply management, there is a order management inside, and it has various enterprise tools inside, like SAP, Salesforce, all the transportations, vendors, FedEx, lot of complex system, and it plays with different types of data, on its own. So we will take transactional data, master data, reference data, because it has the 90% coverage of the entire data, which is structured and semi-structured for this course. Because we do have PDF, media files, but I'll just skip it because we are yet to get into that. So data silos, that's a key problem with the data in a supply chain. Because we all know, right, like everybody cooks the granny's birthday, the granny's favorite biryani. Because grandma is liking the biryani, everybody prepares the biryani on their own. We all like the biryanis, right? But it's a different style. People spend the energies. Maybe it is good for that grandmas, but it's not for the company. So there are a lot of different varieties of data silos are happening. If you go and talk any team in the organization, they will say, hey, I'm very good at, like, I can create my forecast with the available data sources. I can create my dashboards with, whatever the numbers that I have a greater visibility. But if you look at from a COO level or CEO level, the data has a various diverse nature of the KPIs. It's a major problem for many industries. Visibility, transparency, data accuracy, so flawed forecastings, and more importantly, the human errors I have seen in the supply chain, because when we create a data in one system, the entire system has to take it forward. We need to create a proper governance of who create the data, where the data has to go in across the supply chain. But every system are not handshaking in a proper way, because they need to take care of their immediate operations. So we see the multiple version of the same data residing. So there are 4 key challenges that I present here. Because of the poor data handling, we are lacking the vision. Because when we plan an end-to-end supply chain, right, we need to have an end-to-end visibility. What is my demand? Where am I supplying? Who is supplying the data? So that end-to-end visibility is flawed up because of all the data challenges that we deal with. And volatility in the customer demands, because you might be creating or putting all your efforts in producing one product, but the customer is liking a different product. Altogether, there is another product altogether emerge in the market, and they focus on that particular product. So that's a volatility of a customer demand happening. And we are unable to provide an omni-channel experience to the customers because of that. And nowadays, right, Trump tariff has been employed. So it's a geopolitical tension altogether. Whether you create local to local or global to local, or you keep the current manufacturing industry at this place, it has the various complexity involved. So these are the key challenges that currently supply chain is facing. So I now present top 6 supply chain planning systems used in the current world. What are the 6? In-house, every company is now investing their money, efforts in terms of producing in-house forecasting or planning systems. Blue Yonder, E2 Open, SAP IPO, SAP APO systems. I think it's going to get deprecated soon. So these are the major 6. You know what? I forgot one. Do you know what is the top number one planning systems used in the current world? Correct. You are correct. That's the spreadsheets. Because we are talking about so much advanced generative AI, agentic AI, and so much. But if you go and look at the factories or the factory learn, production learn, they still use the Excel sheet for their regular production. Okay, what am I going to do it today? I have an Excel. Hey, what you want a KPI? Let me present you from copy paste from an Excel, and I will present it to you. That's the fact and reality. This is not done by me, but it's by a McKinsey. Okay. So if you don't have a proper data management, obviously your operationals will get for tasks. You will spend more, you will not yield result. Customer will get dissatisfied because he didn't get an order on the committed date because you may not able to produce on the right day because you don't have a data. So like that it will go. So you will obviously, a company as a whole, you will miss the opportunities because you are focusing in a different direction because you didn't manage the data or you didn't forecast it well. Right? Even if you run a small petty shop, right, you should know what are your customer, what is they are liking. Are they liking vada? Are they liking this green chutney or red chutney? That is how you need to know well about your customer. Or else you might be producing more or spending more, but you will not able to fulfill the customer thirst. Obviously, you will end up in regulatory complaints issues because the tariff of Trump will impact the world, guys. That's why I'm telling again and again. Because now you guys are seeing it is disturbing the entire economy at whole scale because when you apply the tax, the entire supply chain will get disturbed, and obviously the omelette story that you know. So now, let me tell you a simple data strategies that every organization need to follow. Right, you should have a strategy because Dhoni will have a strategy on every game. If you see the movie of Bahubali, even though Kalakaya army is very big, but if you have a right strategy from the Mahismati, you go and attack only the king, not with any other, majority of the powered soldiers, you can able to achieve victory. So these are the 4 simple strategies. What are these? Okay. First, integrate the entire end-to-end supply chain data into cloud. Be it a unified data warehouse, data lake house, or whatever that may be. First, the entire data used in your supply chain network has to be connected and kept on spot. Whatever may be, right? At first, you might see a lot of duplications. You have to improve, and finally, you have to make it as a star standard, what is the right method. But the entire data has to be kept integrated end-to-end at unified data lakehouse. That's the first strategy, number 1. When you get a customer requirement, you have to ask, where are you? Are you getting in your local system, or it is coming from a cloud? So next, build an integrated business data model. What is this integrated business data model, right? Business data models, be it a supply planning, demand planning, inventory, or manufacturing. So entire data need to be connected each other in the data level. So if you know the inventory level already in the market, then only you can able to plan well in your demand planning. If you plan well in the demand planning, you can able to meet the supply planning well. So all these subordinate subdomains of the supply chain need to be connected. So that can be achieved only if you can make the integrated business data model in your company. Third one, obviously, you are playing with a lot of compliance data. You need to establish a proper data governance because when you deal with particular business, particular legal entity, you have to ensure the proper governance, who can able to get what level of access and things like that need to be taken care. Third and important, governance. And fourth, you have to empower your business with your data. Whatever you created so much, right, integrated business data model, you should not hide from the business. Finally, let them play with the Excel sheet will not help you. So you have to empower your business with the data that you created and integrated and kept it on space. These are the 4 simple strategies, yet powerful strategies. Every organization struggling to meeting this demand, these 4 simple strategies can help them to get a proper visibility. Let me tell you, put it in an architecture diagram, right? How you can able to create this type of integrated data models and empower the business user, right? First, we all know, star schema, snowflake schema, that's where we parked all our data. So this is the medallion architecture is evolving. It is helping in very advanced cloud technologies, be it Snowflake or Databricks or Synapse Analytics or whatever the cloud databases. You have to create medallion type of architecture to keep the data pulled out from various system of records without impacting the business layer, and then you create still an aggregated integrated model at silver layer, and obviously you create your forecasted output, AML output, generative AI results in the gold layer. And then you can create equally, parallelly create different data sets for different, let's say, customer, supply chain, finance. So entire data can be created in parallel. The integrations can be possible by following a data vault model, where we have the satellites, hub, and the links. Because when you deploy a change, right, in a normal star schema, you have to have a proper CI/CD. But we can't able to control the entire organization. So that's where this data vault model help you without impacting anybody else. You can still have a closed loop of people can create and deploy without making much trouble in the production deployment phase. And the GrabDB. GrabDB will definitely help in the supply chain, because where GrabDB have a capacity of tapping the relations between multiple peoples, right? Like multiple people. I know her and she know him, and so like that. If there is an impact happen in the entire supply chain, for example, somebody had created an defect products, or there is a supplier who didn't meet the qualified results, you come to know after a period of time. If you have maintained this kind of relationship, you can clearly card out without impacting your entire organization impact from any major risk and compliance perspective. And obviously, the data mesh is another bigger shift we follow in Philips, where every team, finance or supply chain or product teams can create and own their data assets, and they continually empower to publish their data assets as a gold standards. And obviously, the data fabric, it's coming up for the upcoming industries. I highly recommend, instead of going for the data mesh and the complex, if you are a very startup kind of environment, go for data fabric, because you don't need to shift the data fully, where you can make a real-time insights and the decisions wherever the data residing. So that's how the data architectures will help you to achieve the data strategies, guys. So let me tell you one case study, right? Like, hey, Ganesh, like you are talking so much, but is it really possible? Like, if I know the data, what is the difference it will gonna help you? So this was the situation in the computer laptop manufacturing industries. Very, many times, because people create laptops from, I think, 6 or 7 major manufacturing, is that this particular manufacturer really looked at how the customer is ordering the product. We get a finished products from the inventory. Finished products we will get closer to the customers, and customer orders through various part of the channels, be it Best Buy, be it Amazon, be it Walmart, whatever the store, we ship to the order. Finally, we spend a lot of time in producing the inventory, but we couldn't able to sell much because we already created a finished goods. So this company invested a lot of time in understanding the customer behavior, and then come up with the strategy of, okay, why I need to create a finished good inventory? Can I create a component inventory and let me get a customized order from the customers? It happened around like 2024 onwards. They were a major number one customers, number one company for about 14 years before they changed the strategy. But they get the customized order, and from the component inventory, they produced an assembled product for the customer. So they were able to run entire business with very low inventory. Inventory is cost to the company. Inventory is very heavy, because, for example, in my industry, for an MRI to be produced, we should use a magnet. Magnet will take millions of rupees. If you don't have the order, if you keep the inventory of magnets, then it's going to put the company on the task. So the inventory cost is very heavier, because without knowing there is a demand and you producing a finished goods, it will not yield value to you. So that's how they have used the segmented approach, customer-centric priorities, and obviously they run the entire company with almost low or zero inventory levels. So I'll let you guys to think what is the company would be. Okay, the future of data supply chain. I put it in a three segments, because top line is taking already very faster adaptability. Integrated AI and analytics. There are analytics, demand forecasting, demand sensing, supply forecasting, smart safety. So a lot of analytics scope is there for you guys to put your hands dirty into the AI/ML products. this is the field that you guys really can able to apply whatever you learned in this last 3 days of the workshop, because that's getting a lot of scope for you guys to put your hands dirty and create impact in this business. IoT is a industry 4.0. Nowadays, every company is adapting to the industry 4.0, touchless manufacturing and all the things. Supply chain control towers. So people are adapting to see, okay, at the centrally, can I have a control tower? Can I move the levers to see, okay, inventory or creating a newer ways of, seamless production unit or close by distribution center. All the use cases are happening with the supply chain control tower being created. Digital twin of supply chain. So this is another beautiful way as you create the entire digital copy of the supply chain by tapping entire data. If you have everything, you can create a digital mirror so that you can scenario-based approach, or maybe you can put different strategy of transportation methodology. How are you going to get benefited, or are you going to get more cost? So all these things the digital twin is helping. Obviously, Gen AI, Agentic AI, there is a very hell lot of opportunities for you guys to put your hands dirty. Hyper automation, because touchless supply chain, touchless manufacturing, it's been adopted in many manufacturing units outside the world. Immense experience, edge ecosystem, blockchain technologies are also, there is a long scope, but to be, go to that. So benefits of data-driven, obviously overall cost will get reduced, customer trust, we can optimize the supply chain, innovate the supply chain, efficient inventory, we can reduce the overall risk. So if you have a proper data-driven culture in the supply chain, you can achieve all these things. So we all know we have very advanced level of technology, but if you play with the dirty data or poor data, it's going to corrupt your entire system, right? Because you are very good at technology, but if you don't have a discipline of managing the data or using the proper data, or if you're taking a wrong decision, simply believing the data, you're going to pay for it. That's why I'm telling everybody, don't let the imperfect data be the enemy of good digitization. The future belongs to the data-powered engine, where data does not only guide, but it powers the entire supply chain. Thanks, team. Thanks, everyone, for giving me the opportunity. I would really love to thank everyone, especially the MLDS team, for giving me the opportunity and really poking all the young minds out there. This is my LinkedIn. You can connect with me anytime. If you have further question, I will be available after this session. You can talk to me. Thanks, everyone. Hope you guys now get the ignite of using the technology in the right spot. Thanks.
We are open to questions now as well, if anyone
if you have some questions, if you have time.
Like you said about the laptop company that is customizing the orders based on the customer's demand, but isn't it just possible maybe for that company only? Because we know that in the factories, the products are made in like bulk. So making one product, wouldn't it be costly than making like 100 products of the same type?
Correct, good question. Your good name?
Ayush.
Ayush. Hey, that's a good question. So he's telling that, hey, why every company need to produce millions or many more products without any demand? That's a question, right?
No, I mean, inventory policy should be in check, but customizing every order, wouldn't it be very costly?
Correct. So nowadays, if you look at, it's happening in the textile industry also, right? Everything, even for the food industry also it's happened. Like earlier, it was a plain biryani, or now they are asking you what level of spicy level pizza. So the customization, because you have to somehow poke the customer, because he will just go and see different, same pattern of products, he will not able to come for you. So if you give them to play around with, digitizing, or let him choose the product that he wants, he will definitely go and like you. So that's the thing. It's not only happening in computer industry, but it's happening every across. But you cannot able to go 100% into that, I understand, because how can you run a retail shop, right, without knowing that what type of, so there is a different level of customer study that we do. Okay, what type of product is selling it, what is the age category, what is that, geographic category, what is the financial category of the people, so that I can create a customized product and keep it ready for him in the retail shop. That's what we do, like Target do, Best Buy do. Every company is doing a little bit of customizations. You may not able to see. If you go for any, even Vasant & Co., right, like any company, you have a customized product, even it comes from the LG. If you order something in LG, that's a different level. But for any customer, there is a little bit of negotiation and customization is happening.
And when we'll get this option in Philips products?
Yeah, obviously we are doing it because we are the company have like different, when we create a supply chain architecture itself, right? We do that study because we cannot go and produce one type of products for everybody. We study the customer behavior, what is the medium range, lower population range and the premium range. So that's how the entire structuring, supply chain architecture is happening. So product designing by focusing the supply chain architecture is happening across the industry.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Hi. Hi, this is Rakesh here. When we are talking about the data here for the supply chain, so take an organization who has a lot of data over past years, but the data source is not one. As we have seen, there are multiple data sources, and mostly still the teams are relying on spreadsheets to do their planning. What would you suggest that how can we have one true source of data where our analytics model can work upon?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's the pain of the entire industry because everybody, raise their hands because they acknowledge the data that they play with. That's how we recommend to have a proper governance, and the, CDO has to be, Chief Data Officer has to stamp and star quality data. Who can able to create what type of data? That kind of a proper governance need to be created. Even let's say, a product, who can own the product, who can able to create the product, who can able to update the data, who can able to delete the data, that kind of governance that we need to create. Hope I answered your question. Your good name?
Thank you,
Rakesh. Thanks,
Counter
Rakesh.
question to that is,
Yep.
what if it's not the case? I know that
Yep.
it's the best case that we should follow, but what you have done in the previous cases where there was not one source of data, so how did you get it at one place? How did you play around with it?
Correct, because this was the case that we play every day, because when we see a multiple variation of the same data, we go and study the data life cycle. Who created the first point of data, how the transfer happened, and let's now stop the updates happening over the data life cycle. So that's how you can able to approach it. Yep. Thank you. I think it's the
Ganesh.
time. I can take the questions offline. Thanks, team. Yep.
Ganesh, if it's okay, you can answer.
Is it okay?
Yeah, we have like 5 more minutes.
Thank you. You remind me like when
Sure,
it's
sure, definitely.
Sorry, just a small
Yep.
two-part question. With respect to the use of either traditional AI or generative AI, are you seeing benefits on reduction of, let's say, things like bullwhip effect at the lower downstream levels versus at the upper manufacturing layers? Is there significant advantage that has come in with the advancement of technology? And the second question is, you mentioned blockchain towards the end, right? Are you seeing significant adoption? And if not, what do you see is the reason why blockchain is not getting used as much in the modernization as
Okay.
such?
So your first question is about the generative AI.
Bullwhip effect, basically, is it getting resolved now? Basically the point of, as you go further upstream, the forecasting error continues to build up, and therefore you either have large shortages or large inventory pileups. Is that getting resolved with the advancement in modernizations?
Yeah, what we have experienced is like the adoption of AI/ML will be beneficial when we have a proper data. So we were just focusing on putting the proper foundation into the place so that you guys can able to play on top of it. Obviously, we have, intermediate range. We are creating a much accurate forecast level with knowing that all the factors outside, customer behavior, promotions impact, scenario-based changes. So all the things taken into account, but we are still in a state of matured adoption to the AI, generative AI technologies, right? We are yet to achieve that. Your second question is the blockchain. Blockchain will help us to carve out the material management because the material, the graph DB, I said, right? So that is a proper use case adoption of blockchain technology. That the one of the use cases that we are trying to adapt. But that's what I have listed to 3 level. We are not there in full adoption of the blockchain. But I'm seeing the same trend is happening. Maybe we will be there in a few years, but we are not there yet. But the AI, agentic AI is picking, gears now.
Hello.
Yep.
So myself Bala. So I'm from Dell Supply Chain Data Architecture team.
Hey Bala, yeah, the
Yeah.
use case more.
Yeah. So I was able to relate most of the things what you talked about because I am from the data lakehouse team. So what we are doing from Dell perspective is actually we are building a data mesh, and then we are building via data products, right? When you talk about data products, we have a clear ownership of the data. Also in your slide, you mentioned about the data fabric movement, right? From the mesh to the data fabric movement. So can you tell what difference actually or Dell can get it when we move data from mesh to fabric?
Yeah, so data mesh, after that, if you can apply the fabric, because what we see is like, right, there is a lot of efforts happening or the data loss is happening in moving the data, but you need to take a real-time, action in the floor. So that's where the fabric can help you. If you have data localized to you, let's say in the factory level, for them to take a real-time insights without moving the data, like a data virtualization technology or whatever that, right? You don't need to spend, transform the data, or you don't need to wait for a CDM to be deployed. Somebody need to approve, but the data can create wherever it is, but you need to take some decision over there and move forward, right? That if you create a fabric of whatever the data sources or the data reside, let it reside right there, but you need to keep continuing. So that's where the data fabric can help you.
What we have done is we have done the same virtualization layer, but we have done on top of the mesh, because the mesh is taking the data.
Correct.
And then on top of the mesh, actually, we have deployed the visualization layer, right? So even without duplicating the data, actually through visualization, actually we are achieving the same things what Fabric is doing. So I wanted to know whether we will be getting any cost benefits when we move to Fabric.
Correct, because not all the data are there, right, and are matured. So probably I will connect with you after the call. So we'll get talk more. It's good to that to know you, Bala, and you are the first guy seeing that my case study directly from your company. Yeah. Thank you everyone. Yeah.